Good. And you want to underline that too. Very well done.
Yeah, I would like to underline that. We deal with that as well. We have people that come to us with the products that we've offered with an internet price. And we finally decided that the best way that we could deal with that would be to do two things. Number one, draft up in addition to the proposal that they're going to sign off for, that if we accept them buying that product and supplying it to the job site, they take full responsibility for it. We provide no warranty at all. And the second thing, they want it backed out of the price. We'll back out, because a lot of times the internet price is as good, or even in some cases better than the price that we can get at the local wholesaler. That's all they get backed out, and they don't get the tax back out.
So it's really not going to do them any good to do that, and that's one of the ways that you communicate that?
We still
Very well done.
We still keep our profit, and we don't have to provide any warranty.
But it's the special sauce that you bring to the whole thing.
Right.
Do you want to add, John?
I have a friend who came up with a real brilliant way of dealing with that problem as well, kind of along with the lines of what you did. Is that he was a plumber, and he had people who wanted to buy their own plumbing fixtures, and he used to fight them. And finally he said, I don't want to fight anymore. Go ahead, buy your own fixtures, but here are the conditions. First, he said, no warranties expressed or implied on anything other than the connection we make to whatever you supply. That will warranty, but nothing else. The thing drips, whatever, it's not our problem, it's yours. Secondly, he said, everything has to meet all state and local plumbing codes. Well, we don't know what those plumbing codes are. Not my problem. Okay, your problem. Third, all equipment has to be on the job site when we are there to install it. If we have to make an extra trip because you don't have something based on our timetable, it's a $200 trip charge. Knowing full well they usually forgot the trip waste for the tub, because it would be an unusual trip waste for a specific tub. He said, it's not something we supply, it goes with this, you have to get it. And then lastly, and this was usually the deal breaker, any piece of equipment you supply has to be delivered into the room you want it installed in, uncrated and in place. And the guy said, I'll be damned if I'm gonna haul your cast iron tub up 3 flights of stairs, and possibly damage your house, damage myself, for something I'm not making any money on.
I'm getting scared.
Yeah, that was usually the deal breaker. I said, well, we don't know, could you the thing about the codes is we don't know what meets codes. Could you help us? I said, sure, my consulting rate is $75 an hour.
So,
and that can be applied. That can be applied to heating systems and mechanical equipment as well. You're not the victim here.
Well, I think that it's so often that we discount. When I hear someone say something like, "Well, I'm just a plumber, or I'm just a heating guy," that is such a disservice to yourself and to the industry, because you really are the special sauce as a contractor to pull this whole thing together. If you don't put it in right, none of this beautiful equipment is going to work. My mentor, Frank Blau, said that the problem in our industry in getting and selling the right price is a self-esteem issue. That we don't lay claim to how magnificent the work that this industry does, in addition to the fantastic products that you provide. So, very well done. Okay, Gary, did that help you out? Was that nice? That was nice of you to share your tip, too. Thanks. Do you have a follow-up question? We good? Can somebody else lose an eye with the Super Bowl? A Super Bowl? You ready to rock? Okay, you ready to catch? Okay. Oh, yeah, that was good.
Actually, I just wanted to add to the previous point. I had a contractor in Georgetown, Washington, D.C., who was just simply going to change out a toilet for an attorney and a doctor. And they said, well, that seems way too expensive. So he said, well, hold on a second. He went down, it was Friday afternoon, he went down to his truck, he came back with a 5-gallon bucket. He gave it to the doctor, and he said, hold this. And he said, well, what is this? He said, well, use this over the weekend. Come back and let me know if it's okay on Monday. So the fact of the matter was, like, I love the movie Braveheart, but nobody wants to live that way. So.
Let's give it up. Very good. All right, who else has a question for our esteemed panel? Anybody have challenges? Oh, here we go. All right, are you ready for this? Somebody better be. Heads up. Whoa, Ingrid lost an eye. Okay. Thanks, honey. All right.
My question was, you talked about the solar heating project, and you said it wasn't, the payback wasn't very good. Do you have an idea what the payback was on it?
Oh, this would be a good time for you to do a little demo. Could we do that? All right, now let me give you some ground rules about this demonstration. We didn't bring a PowerPoint, wanted to make this really fun and conversational. What we're going to have Dave do is demonstrate a really fun and easy way to talk about return on investment, because this one can go over people's heads. It can make people nervous. It can put you in some kind of a liability situation. And so when I was asking our panel before now, who can do this in a really fun and snappy way with their clients, Dave raised his hand. So we're going to have him demonstrate that. We don't expect you to be able to see this. Pay attention more to the process that you go through.
Don't we have a...
Yeah, and then we're going to have my son Max. This is why you have children, to embarrass them in front of large groups and help you out in tough situations. So Max, raise your hand. Everybody give it up for Max Rohr. Max is then going to walk the room with, the boxing scorecard, so you get a chance to look at the work that Dave did. Now, is one page going to be sufficient, or do I need to humiliate someone else too?
Probably.
Okay, so maybe John, you can help out, and I'll help with the mic if you need that too.
Okay.
All right, so are you ready for that? Would you like to see a pretty nifty return on investment?
The question of payback.
Well, is that the same question?
Different question, but I can answer it very quickly.
Oh, that was so embarrassing, because it was really kind of a build-up to what I thought I heard. It was that was like when you talked about listening better. That's a good sales skill to have. I just didn't really demonstrate that. Okay, you finish, and then we'll go to Dave.
We didn't really even get into payback. What we were analyzing was how much heat we were actually gaining in the wintertime to add to the structure. And we really needed to have a dozen or more panels on that roof to provide a meaningful amount of heat. We only had room for 8, so we're getting a little bit, but not enough. We didn't even get into the payback aspect of that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Have you ever used a geothermal system, like a ground source heat pump in conjunction with a PV system? And
We do a lot of geo. I've never done PV though.
okay.
Can I bounce the ball in your direction? Are you excited about this? May I attempt it? Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. I thought we were going to be stress balls, and I was going to just throw them straight away. But this would be really dangerous with the particular product I'm dealing with. Okay, so do you want to share that?
Absolutely.
Oh, do you want to go first?
Real quick, have you done that? 'Cause it sounded like you had some experience to share. PV with Geo.
I did one. It was a 22-ton system, and it was for a municipality, and they had a huge south-facing solar roof, and they had a private investor who wanted to do it, wanted to donate, and they did the PV system. So far, it's been driving the geothermal. Geothermal is 4.25 times return. So you get a kilowatt off the roof, you get 4.25 kilowatts back.
Wow.
Well, that was cool. That was a good follow-up question.
And you beat me.
In Colorado, with the thermal side.
But the point of that was that what you can bring to that is with the geothermal installed, they have a 30% tax credit. And that does not apply just to the furnace you stick in. That applies to your labor, that applies to your drilling, that applies to the PV system, that applies to the ductwork, the install for the ductwork, the electrical upgrade, the install for the everything. And so that guy walks away with a 30% tax credit on a $100,000 job. Now he's getting 30% off the bottom of his taxes. That makes the return on investment. That's where you can point it.
That's a gray area. People are pushing the envelope on. Where that line is, who knows? I was saying that's a gray area that people are pushing the envelope on. And we write a disclaimer that says we're not tax accountants. You can consult your tax accountant, but where do you draw the line on the 30% tax credit? I mean, we've got.
It was this job. I had a job, $100,000 for the total job, and that was 2 years ago. And he wrote it, and they still haven't called.
Well, I think that's a good point, though, to just make sure that they understand tax credits are available. You're going to help them with the paperwork, but that it is changing too. Like some of them are, as of December are over, so it's a pretty volatile area. No matter what's been, it may not stay. So, or new things may be coming too. So to be aware of it would be good.
Well, the GEO is funded until 2016.
Right, but it's actually going to, in reality, depending on what they're paying in as far as withholding, that's probably expire for the bigger systems in 2010, 2012, because what's happening this year is in 2016, if they haven't paid enough money and to get all that 30% money back, that's going to have a detrimental impact on us being able to sell that equipment based on
Why am I
tax
not
credits.
surprised that this is complicated? Yeah, okay. Now, would it be a nice time for you to do your demo?
Sure, but
Okay.
I just wanted to,
Sorry about that.
Max, I don't know if you want to run this around or not, but this is a PV system that we brought online 2 weeks ago. We had a little cloud this morning, evidently. There was a slight dip, but we're up over 8 kW right now.
You're monitoring a system that you did?
Yeah, past 7 days, 138 kilowatt hours, and so far, over the past 2 weeks, 290 kilowatt hours have been produced. It looks like we're going to offset about 80% of that home's energy, and that's a geothermal system up there.
Are you going to pass that around?
Yep, we can.
Okay, so if you keep it, that's a free iPad for you.
Nope.
Oh, no? Okay, all right, just checking. All right, and John, did you want to interrupt me?
Starts to go dim, just happened.
Did you have something to share? Or do we have a question back there? Okay, then you get in place.
Okay.
All right, and then you're up and down. It is like church here
Yeah,
for
it is
you.
like Catholic church over
All right. Hi, Pete. How are you? I'm going to bounce a ball. Heads up. Oh, 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 wow. You guys are covered for that, right, PhD? Sorry about that. Right in the heart. Yeah. Okay, so let me watch it for the rest of the class. Thanks, Max. All right, what have you got?
Well, a lot of people have personally suffered buyer's remorse, and for a lot of people, the word salesman is one of the dirtiest words in the language. They just hate the idea. And I've known a lot of fabulous contractors, did wonderful work. They just couldn't imagine putting the salesman's hat on their own head because they hated the idea. You got any suggestions for guys that need to
Oh,
change
no,
their
wait a second. Wait a second. Raise your hand if what Pete said resonates with you. Okay, hand went way up there. All right, that being a salesperson is not why you got in this game, right? Okay, that's an excellent question. And John wants to, okay, so you're going to just have to wait. Okay, John apparently wants
I'd like
to
to
answer
defer
this
my time to
question.
Mr. Aune.
She's ready to go.
Pete, to anybody that thinks that they're not salesmen, that they're plumbers or they're HVAC techs or they're service techs for the company they work for, I got news for you. You're a salesman.
Yes.
You have to know that you're a salesman walking into the job. If you answered the call, you made the appointment, you're there to try to sell them something, whether it's a circulator, whether it's a solar panel, it doesn't matter. Or collector, sorry. Hot rod. You are bringing your plumbing or heating or whatever it is you do. You're bringing your technical expertise to the table to back up the fact that you're there to sell them something. You are a salesman.
Okay, so you're not on the fence about this.
I'm not on the
that,
fence.
yeah.
John's got a lot to say about this, and I hope I didn't step on his toes by saying that.
You're just dead sexy when you're working.
Isn't he not? Oh my God! I know, the energy was amazing. Well, you know, I think one of the challenges is we don't like bad salespeople, but the kind of salespeople that we sometimes envision, talk too much, plaid jacket wearing, pushy, those guys aren't good salespeople. Those guys don't do well in sales. So we've got kind of a misunderstanding of what a good salesman looks like.
Hold on, Ellen. There are no plaid jackets in here. You're safe.
We're covered with that. On the inside of a couple of Carhartts, we might see some plaid there. But do you want to add that?
Elaborate what Eric said. If you do something and you take money for it, you know, yeah, you got to sell people. Don't think that you're too good for that, because it can be it's what you do. There are other people who do exactly what you do equally as well as you do, and if you're honest, probably there are people out there that do what you do a little better than what you do. Why is this person going to hire you instead of them? Too many times guys say, well, you need to hire me because everybody else out there is an idiot. They don't know what they're doing. I alone am the only person who possesses the expertise to do this job. And that's nonsense. You have competition, you have good competition, who's going to be able to put in a system equally that's going to serve that customer's needs. If you do not have the necessary skills to sell yourself and to sell your products and to sell your services to your customers, you're going to starve.
You know,
that's just the way it is. Selling is part of what you do, end of discussion. Cope with it, and if you got to sell, you might as well be good at it.
Well, let's do this. Let's talk about this. So you're going to park for a minute because I think that what people
Sorry, Dave.
That's all right.
and just the kind of the energy that this is bringing up here. Let's get over this piece of it and discuss it a little bit more.
Does anybody have a different feeling?
Well, let me ask you a question first. Let me do a little poll, including the panel. Who here has ever taken a sales course, like went to a class to learn sales techniques? All right. Very good. So does anybody want to share on, did that experience impact their ability to be successful in a positive way? Does anybody have a story like that to share? Anybody? Okay. All right, John. Yay. Okay, don't give her the microphone before she uses both hands to try that. Oh, hey! Okay, good job.
I've been in sales for, I don't know, about 27 years, I think, and I was one of those salespeople that you kind of come up through the ranks, and you're mentored a little bit, you're picking a little bit here, you're picking a little bit there from the people that you're around, and then you kind of get thrown out into the world, and you fall on your face because you're talking too much, you're a little too pushy, you're trying to be kind of the trusted advisor, the person that knows what they need, versus finding out what they really want. And I took a course, and it was fantastic, and what it taught me was that selling can be actually a very noble business. It does not have to be the used car salesman. It doesn't have to be a trick. It's not closing at all costs. And after that, once I understood the process, that there is a process with selling, and it starts with listening to your customer and actually interviewing them and then validating what you heard and then going back and picking from your goods to deliver what their needs are. And I think when people really know that you know what they need and that you're giving it to them, it becomes very easy to sell. And it's not necessarily, but it is becoming that trusted advisor, somebody that's listening, and after that it was kind of gravy.
And the customer gets to say yes or no, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so that lightens things up. Now,
Customer absolutely sells themselves. I love sales. That's exactly what I do when I go to a client's house.
Did you start by taking a sales course? Did you ever take sales classes?
Yes.
Okay.
And that culmination did not occur in a single class. It occurred from a number of different classes. And Dan Hollihan gets a lot of credit for the sales that I do as well, because Dan's philosophy was when he goes out to do a seminar, he always asks himself every question he can possibly think of so that he knows the answer before he gets there. And I do the same thing on every sales call. I ask myself, what if I were the client, and how would I want that explained to me so that I would clearly understand it, so we don't talk BTUs and thermal units and things like that. We talk about comfort and those types of issues. But the interview process is what really does the sale, because they'll tell you every time what they want.
If you're going to ask, in fact, this is what I think. You two, Dan and Hot Rod, are arguably the quietest guys on this panel. All right, and so I wanted to go here for a minute because sometimes there's this idea that if you're outgoing, you would be a good salesperson. But what I find particularly intriguing about the two of you is you're not the guy who's going to take center stage or be the noisiest person in the room. So given that, Hot Rod, how did you come to embrace sales from your position?
Well, that's the point. I mean, you listen, again, you're there because they want to buy something from you. So it's just, you want to make sure that what you have to sell is what they want. The brand you want or the solution you want. You want to come up with unique ideas when you sell it to them. Well, okay, we'll put a radiant system, but we can put a heated towel bar or something. So you listen to what they want, you suggest some add-ons, and everybody's different. I mean, the same sales process doesn't work for every customer. If you listen to what they want, you just come up with solutions as you go. It's like talking here. This is what we're selling. This is what we have to offer today. So we're selling right now.
That's pretty low key. What do you think, Dan?
Well, I agree with Eric. We're all salesmen, and if nothing else, we're selling our ideas, our expertise, our knowledge. So as far as...
Did you always think that way?
No.
Or did you go through a transition yourself?
No, I've been to multiple sales classes. It's a learned skill.
Could you relate to when someone said to you the whole idea of sales, did that used to make your stomach hurt?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, so
over time you learn that you're not going to pay the bills if you don't. I mean, you got to sell. But as far as is who you are. I mean, I don't have that outgoing personality to say John Barba has, but that's who I am. You're not going to change who you are in front of the client. I'm going to present who I am to the client. I consider myself a consultant. I want to listen to the client, find out what their needs are, and meet those needs. And do I close every deal? No. But I'm not going to change who I am in front of the client. If my personality is this, that's what you're going to get.
That is really, I think that's a really important point to underline, that in sales you get to be who you are, but it's a matter of asking good questions and listening, following a sales process. John, you've taught sales for a lot of years. You want to jump in here?
Well, just to drive the point home, if you don't think sales are important, or you think they just take care of themselves, or one of the most common mistakes is people say, well, this stuff's so good it'll sell itself, which is nonsense, because there's nothing on this earth that is so good that it'll sell itself. Think about that for a minute. There's not one thing, and I know what some of you are thinking, and that won't sell itself either, because think about why we have pimps.
Okay, just write that down for a moment. Think about that one.
There's nothing inherently so good that it'll sell itself. Things do need to be sold, and if you're going to sell it, you need to be good at it. And one thing I learned from Ellen is, if you look at a profit and loss statement, which is kind of tells you the pulse of your business, what's the first item at the top of a profit and loss statement?
Your name.
After your name, Eric.
It is the first item.
Aune Plumbing LLC. Yeah, okay.
The first meaningful item.
Mine usually should really say formerly known as Aune Plumbing and Heating, because I've got a lot to learn on how to read those statements and use them to my benefit, but keep going, John.
Okay, no, that's a good point.
The first line item is sales. And ideally, you'd like that number to be big. And if you're going to do it, you might as well be good at it.
Or at least bigger than your expenses, right? Yeah, okay. So that, in fact, for me in Hot Rod once upon a time, boy, I know we didn't want to raise our prices, but it was looking at the numbers and not making any money that made us say, okay, we've got to sell at higher prices and figure out how to get that done, for sure. Okay, we've got questions, so let's go. Okay, get ready, heads up. Are you ready? I'm going to try it from here. It's going to be a little angle. You watch out. You ready? Oh. I'll walk one back. Okay. I'm enjoying this. I'm not kicking for Baltimore.
My question actually hits part of the selling process. I was curious, with the expiration of the tax credits for most products, how it is that you incorporate rebates and incentives from utility companies, municipalities, counties, state programs, which allows you as the contractor or manufacturer to help maintain your margins and show them that there's this free money out there. And then secondly, how do you stay on top of all those programs, making sure that your salespeople know about them and that they can be proactive in promoting them as ways for the customer to save money?
Okay, now Dave, this is so like Catholic school. Oh, sister, please call on me. Okay, would this be a segue into your...
Well, it could be, but
okay.
Really to answer the question, the first thing that I encourage customers to do is to visit dsireusa.org, which contains all that information on a state-by-state basis, both for solar and also for Energy Star equipment, rebates, incentives. But I'm blessed by having one of our secretaries has tackled this and taken it on as her mission to keep current with all this stuff. So I don't have to do it. She does it for me, which is a real blessing, because that's not the part of the business that I'm really keen on pursuing. But I like to go out and sell the equipment. Mary takes care of filling in the blanks on those types of issues. And, it is free money, and we do bring that as part of the sales tool, but we don't rely on that as the sales tool.
But you want to raise your hand, don't you? You have to know about this, right?
Yeah, I wish I had a secretary that did it too. It can be a lot of work. The DSIRE website is phenomenal. It doesn't include everything, especially at the county or municipal levels. There are programs that may change next month at the city council meeting. That'll, they're going to give a $100 rebate for putting in a tankless water heater or something. So you need to stay on top of that. But most of all, what you also need to do is present those rebates, those tax credits, use that in your sales presentation, but not adjust the cost of your sale to the customer because of that. You need to make your profit, and your margins have to remain the same. You have to go in knowing that that is just going to hopefully reinforce your or help you make that sale. It should not affect your bottom line.
Yeah, that doesn't come off the top of the price. It's money they get back by filling out by finishing the paperwork and sending it in. Just like, you go to Best Buy and buy a printer and they give you a $50 rebate. Still got to send it in.
And it is so nice. I think one of the reasons you could charge more is if you're going to help them through the process, through that journey. It can be very helpful. Hey, we've got some more questions. You want a follow-up question?
I just wanted to add that the question was a little bit personal. We have a company that actually communicates all those rebates by zip code, and we include the county and state and federal programs in addition to the local co-ops. So I volunteer up for anyone that needs assistance with that on the board. Please feel free to reach out to us. We provide free advice all the time on those to you guys, because our partners are the manufacturers who then hopefully sponsor the programs for you guys as installers. So if there's anyone that would like that free assistance, please seek out Kobe or I, and we can certainly help you guys out.
That was a sales presentation, and you know what? It was appropriate, and I applaud it. Yeah. So what's the link, or could you write that?
Sure. The name of the company is Green Aune OHM.
Green Aune OHM. Okay. Play on words there. I get it. Green Aune OHM.
And we can certainly meet up with anyone that would like to get our business card, and we'll help you guys out.
All right. Sounds good. That was fun. All right. Question. Get ready.
Good morning.
I'm going to hand this to you. Okay. Well, there you go. He just looks so capable. He looks so capable. One hand snagged it. Okay, good.
I'm actually from the Bahamas, and I have a couple of my guys here. Our market, I think, is a lot easier than yours, just because we spend anywhere between 40 and 44 cents a kilowatt hour. So residential sales for us is a little easier, selling high efficiency, straight pool equipment. But the market I'm looking for is the commercial market, because operating costs in the Bahamas now are going through the roof. And this year they expect our utilities to go up another 15%. What can you recommend for us, selling wise? Because there's a lot of DX systems out there, there's a lot of chillers, but what could we add to these systems to take them up a level? I mean, savings, if you can cut 10 to 15% of some of these buildings, it's a massive amount of savings. We have anywhere between 400 and 600 offshore banks there. There's a lot of money to be made.
I think the panel needs a field trip to
I think that would be better.
fully assess the needs that you're discussing.
Go ahead and ask for clarification.
Do you have the option of maybe fabricating a power plant on your own over there? And that's really going to bring money in the door for sure. It sounds at 40 to 45 cents per kilowatt hour.
It's ridiculous right now. In the last year and a half, it's jumped from 24 cents, which was high then, to there. I own a insulation company too. The problem we have there is we don't have code, so there's not a required amount of insulation needs to be in an attic or a wall or a type of window. So for us, the cooling BTUs that we put into a building are ridiculously high, and then you're spending a ton of money, obviously, on air conditioning. But for us, on the residential standpoint, we do well. But on the commercial level, there's really nobody there that's doing this and working on this. I mean, banks obviously the market's starting to come back up. They're making good money, but if they can save 20, 30% on electricity, it's huge numbers. Some of these buildings spend $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a month on electricity.
Well, this is an exciting market. And so was there a question too that you wanted them to tackle?
I just need to step in the right direction on maybe software, building automation, things that we could put in, maybe some VA feed controls, variable frequency drives, a company that I can meet with here locally to try and always get distributorship, training, things like that.
But you and I talked at break.
Okay, because there are going to be, there's the different, you're in the right spot, right? I mean, that's what's happening at the show as far as getting some stuff designed. You'll definitely talk to Barba, and anybody else wants to raise their hand.
I would also suggest reducing the load through building envelope improvements before tackling the mechanical system.
Okay.
You said you had an insulation company. Improve the insulation, improve the windows. reduce the load. Then when we reduce that load, then we'll address the mechanical aspects. That's my suggestion.
Are you looking at inverter technology and variable refrigerant flow systems?
Anything really. I mean, we've done a lot of the homes there too are high-end homes, and we also work on, houses from 10,000 to 30,000 square foot. We've done some of the Mitsubishi, the city multi-lines. Yeah. We sell a lot of Carrier Infinity. Residential is not a problem, but commercial, we haven't done any city multis for commercial buildings yet. It's mostly DX or chillers.
They'll work with you, Mitsubishi's and so will Fujitsu and the other ones. They'll all work with you to develop pro forma cost, and they'll meet with your clients with you. Probably in your case, they'll be anxious to do that more so than they are in my area just because of where you live. But they'll come out, they'll meet with the client, they'll do the financial projections, and essentially what happens at the end of the day, they'd be foolish to say no to you. So we've bid a couple of VRF systems now. We have yet to land one, but it's only a matter of time.
If you're going to talk to bankers, return on investment, they understand that. That's the language. That's the sales.
We're going to get that done. Hey, before we go, by the way, I was photo bombing. Let me just comment on what you said. One thing is you're going to have more competition in the Bahamas now because people are going to be going down there to work in a low competition environment like that. But the other thing to underline based on what Dave said is manufacturers' reps can be so helpful here. We were talking about this yesterday. It was one of our favorite reps. As you were just getting started once upon a time, remember that relationship you developed with Mike Lundquist? Maybe you could share a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they do, is they're the bridge between the product and you. But I got to really plan what Dan said. The best money anybody can spend is reducing the load first, whether it's the heating load or the cooling load, the domestic water load. So go around with light bulbs, certainly solar domestic hot water system. I mean, everything has to come together. But it sounds to me like electric is what you're after there. Do they have feed-ins too, or can you sell power back on these large arrays?
That's a monopoly.
Yeah.
Okay, we had a question that I interrupted. Back there. Oh, right here. Live. Hold on, you ready? Ready? Right from here. Oh, come on. All right, so you know what, if I can make you a little uncomfortable, are you really comfortable with sales? Do you love sales? You are a sales guy. Okay, then I'm challenging you. I bet you're pretty competitive. I'm going to throw this overhand. Are you ready? Okay, now Max says I take way too much wind up for a really little effort that makes it to the ball. Oh, hey! Okay, go for it. What's your question?
All right, to go to your point, I'm a manufacturing rep for Hoffman in the Carolinas. We sell Daikin. My area Daikin guy actually has the Bahamas. To go to those points about the whole energy thing, everybody's kind of, when they hear VRV, they kind of step back because it's kind of new technology. So what I have done is taken a program called Energy Pro, which is DOE certified. We run energy calculations, comparing multiple systems, doing all the ROIs, everything you're talking about. We're getting 14,000 plus dollar rebates from our power company, just because we're saving over 100,000 kWh.
And as a manufacturer's rep, you're offering those services to your clients?
Yeah, that's free to my clients. I mean,
see, this rep connection is rocking awesome. So, Yentl, matchmaker.
So if he wants to talk about how to save a lot of money, if we get a program like Energy Pro, you can show it. And most power companies, like Progress Energy, have it set up where they'll pay you so much. It's like 14 cents a kWh, based on what you save difference. In a VRF system, lately I've been averaging over 90.1 baseline or going against equipment, over 100,000 kWh per year.